Greetings, this is Crunchy Fat, and today's the day I try something new. So today, instead of getting the normal My Hero Academia what ifs that you guys have grown accustomed to, I decided I might try and do a high school DxD one. So this will be it. This is just going to be a little test one to see if you guys like it. If so, I'll try branching out to other animes as well. So, this will be, what if female Issei was the reincarnation of Upper Moon 1, Kokushibo, or Michikatsu? I think that's how you pronounce his name. Yeah. So this will contain manga spoilers, and this will contain manga spoilers for Demon Slayer, and for those of you who haven't seen High School DxD, some spoilers for that as well. So I've only seen the first season, so I'll just do a bit of the first season in this episode, and I'll continue watching the rest of High School DxD. Anyway, okay, so we begin at Kokushibo's death, at the where he decides to just give up and dies. As Kokushibo is willing to accept any fate that the underworld or hell is willing to give him. As Kokushibo would open their eyes, as he would find that he's been reborn as a girl in the modern era. As the doctor there would say, it's a girl, I forgot Issei's last name, so if you guys do know it, let me know. Miss as the doctor would hand Issei's mother, Kokushibo, as Issei's father and mother would be give me a sec. They would be amazed at the fact that they could bring such a lovely girl into this world. As the doctor asks, so what will be her name? As I think Michikatsu can also work as a girl name. So for this, I'll be referring to her as Michikatsu. As they say, how about Michikatsu? It's a pretty nice name when you think about it. And now Kokushibo had retained all of his abilities and memories from his past life, including the demon form. And some of you might complain, but listen, it's my what if, so I'm not saying you can't help me with it, but again, it's the story. Anyway, continuing. As Michikatsu is growing up, she would make a few friends, including the childhood friend that Issei had in canon. I do not remember her name, so please do help me with that. As this would continue on for years, as Michikatsu would also meet and make friends with the two guys that Issei had man canon, and they will still be quite perverted, but they won't be towards Michikatsu because she is their friend, and why would they do that to their friend? It's like a code they have, so they can't perv on Michikatsu, Michikatsu can't perv on them. It's their rule. It's their friend group rule. As everything growing up would go as canon, except for the fact that Michikatsu would end up joining the Kendo Club. a kendo club in her middle school, and she would actually be one of the best people there, as she would also sort of help the teachers with their instructing the younger students, as she would still retain her breathing techniques, but she wouldn't perform them in sort of like this public space. She would use them in private. So she will still have the breath of the moon technique. As this would continue for a couple of years until Issei would end up graduating to the high school, which high school DxD takes place in, as her friends would also come along as well. As Michikatsu would ask them why did they choose to come to the school, as they would then give their explanation for that they did in canon, that this school, up until a few years ago, was a girls' private school, and now that is open to both guys. They can take advantage of this guy to girl to guy ratio and create their harem. As Michikatsu would chuckle, as she'd say, "You guys are just the same as always." It is actually amazing that you guys are actually not getting caught right now. As they say, yeah, it is quite amazing. Now, before I continue the story at this 6-minute mark, this video is only going to be 10 minutes long since it's going to be a test. So, would you guys like me to give her the Red Dragon Emperor Gauntlet booster that Issei had in canon, or do you want me to keep it with the Breath of the Moon technique? Anyway, alright, do leave it in the comments below. Anyway, continuing. We then continue on with the story, as Michikatsu would be walking around as the fallen angel. I forgot her name. I'm terrible at remembering names. Sorry. As Michikatsu would be looking over the bypass, watching the sunset, the fallen angel from canon would come and ask Michikatsu out on a date. Now, Michikatsu still has her demon abilities, so she can clearly tell when somebody's lying to her. And knowing that she is possibly stronger than this fallen angel, she decides to agree to this. As Michikatsu would get there on time, as they would go on. Sorry about that. As they would go about on their date. As the girl we all know, Ria Scrambry, would be watching this. As when they get to the end of the date, the girl then transforms into the fallen angel and tries to throw a light spear with Michikatsu. Then she had like a very long overcoat, which she hid her sword behind. So it's basically the sword here in the image. She hid her sword in it. She would pull it out and slash at the light spear, deflecting it completely. As she would then say, first off, if you actually wanted to kill somebody, you'd have to do a lot better than that. And secondly, as her skin would turn a paler, as her Demon Slayer mark would grow larger, as the extra four eyes that she has would open up. As she would then say, you're going to have to do a lot better than that if you want to kill me. As she would still have the symbol for Upper Moon 1 in her eyes. As she would then begin using her breathing technique, as she'd say, moon breathing first form, dark evening palace, as she would then slash toward the fallen angel, which would cause her to avoid it. But due to Michikazu not eating as much flesh as she did in her past life, she is a fair bit weaker. So the fallen angel would eventually get the upper hand on her and would end up stabbing her with the light spear. Now Michikazu would pretend to play dead, as she would revert back to her base form to sort of show that, as the fallen angel would fly off. And just as she knows that this fallen angel is out of sight and hearing range, Michikazu would then get up and cover the wound that was left in her gut. As she would look down at it, and she'd say, "Damn, this is going to take a while to heal. Just gotta cover it up." As she would then take out her bandages, some bandages, because she keeps them on hand just in case of a situation like this, as she would begin to wrap up the injury. As Michikazu would then sort of like sniff the air, as she'd say, "I know you're hiding there, so you can come out." As Reyes Gramarye would walk out of the shadows, as she'd say, "So, you're a demon, right? And are you a stray?" And that is where we get leaving this test off. If you guys do enjoy this, in fact, if this gets more than 5 likes, 5 likes, I like to keep it normal, actually 10 likes. If it gets more than 10 likes, then I'll continue this series. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time. Ta-ta!